Hello, ladies and gents. We are back for another quiet weekend of football. I don't think much has really gone on that everyone's missed. You're joined this weekend with me, Stephen Cotton, and Ed Hall.
Hello. Premier
Hello.
League's back, baby.
The Premier League's back. We are not joined with a certain Gav Mac because, as you all may have seen, they have welcomed a new addition to the family. So let's all F's in the chat for Gav. F's in the chat. But without further ado, we're going to do game by game. We're going to go with the way they were played this weekend. So we're going to go straight into, believe it or not, we're going to go straight into the Merseyside Derby and all the controversy and everything that came with it. So the game started with what everyone's talking about for the last 2 or 3 days. The game started with 6 minutes in.
Started with a goal.
Oh, no, it started with a goal. It did start with a goal. No. It was a very good goal as well. Very well played back to front from Liverpool. Sprayed passes, diagonals, left, right and centre. As lovely as the move was, Ed, are you looking at a few Everton defenders there for missed tackles, missed blocks? Is it a bit too easy?
I think what you're referring to is Coleman should be making much more of an effort to tackle Robertson on that left flank. But
and then to close down like the second block on the tackle. Yeah,
I think what the commentator mentioned was if the fans were there egging him on, really get the feel for a Merseyside derby, he probably would have. But he was probably playing a bit cautious, set the tempo. You don't want to get sent off or give away a penalty in the first minute. But what's worse is they gave away a goal in the first minute. So
honestly, that Mane finish though, it's pretty much what he's known for. Like without using the phrases that people hate to hear from those sort of players with the pace and the power and stuff, but the power from that shot. As much as we all don't like Pickford, there's no fault for Pickford. That is hit with some absolute. It's top bins. It's going in. It doesn't matter who's in goal. No one's stopping that. It was a great move.
Set the game off perfectly. Liverpool started the game like a team who had lost 7-2 to Aston Villa, who really wanted to prove a point. But it all went horribly wrong shortly after.
Well, you say that, honestly. So I unfortunately had to go to work after the first half an hour. But I watched the first half an hour. And after that goal and just seeing how Liverpool were playing, I was thinking, Jesus, Everton have been overhyped. Liverpool are blowing this away. This is going to be an absolute mugging. Like this is, as I said, mugging. You lifted your mug up to drink. That was beautiful. I thought this was going to be an absolute mugging from Liverpool. I couldn't see any way. And then 2 minutes later, Jordan Pickford. Now, obviously, we'll talk about this now. There's no point in bringing it up at the end of the game or the end of the game review. We'll talk about it now. The Jordan Pickford, I'm not even going to call it a challenge because to call it a challenge would be probably doing it more service than it actually should be. It is an absolute horror show. It honestly, seeing the still image of Van Dijk's leg planted brings back memory of David Boost. It brings back memories of Cisse. Honestly, it all comes about as well again because it always seems like we're dogging on Pickford, but he's out of position. He doesn't know where he is. He's forced himself into going into this challenge because he's so far out of position. He doesn't know what's going on. But if that is a midfielder making that challenge in the middle of the park, that's not even a 3-game ban. That's probably a 5. It's probably even more. Like, Ed, talk to me. You're a Liverpool fan. Talk to me when you first saw that tackle. What were you thinking?
I mean, I see a lot of headlines and I see a lot of comments going, is it a yellow or is it a red? It's not a question of is it a yellow, is it a red? The question is, why is Pickford still on the pitch?
Yeah.
And regardless of whether it's an offside's been given, regardless if it's happened after the whistle's blown, that doesn't make a difference. If you can send a player off after the final whistle, you can act upon a challenge, which happens when a flag's gone up. And regardless, even if the ball was out for a throw-in, you would send them off easily. And as you said, if Thiago did that, if that happened to Thiago, which, funnily enough, he was involved in a later incident. That happened to
Yeah.
Thiago in the middle of the park. He would instantly have been sent off the pitch.
Instant red. And
it
now
changes the game. It changes the
of course, it
entire
changes
game.
the game. Look, like before we get into it too far, but look how many decent saves Pickford made. Look how, if you're playing against 10 men for 84 minutes with not only 10 men, but they're now using their substitute goalkeeper, it would make a whole difference. But going back to the VAR thing, we obviously talk a lot about VAR here. We have no other choice to every other week because it is every other week. The application has been so misused or so wrong this weekend that it's. I understand that it's offside, right? It's offside. Cool. It's offside. But surely, if anyone had any common sense, it's offside, right? But surely the man in VAR, whoever it is, gives a little call down to Michael Oliver. Michael, it's offside, but you might want to look at the challenge on Van Dijk or whatever it is, to just literally re-look at that whole situation and go, yeah, it's offside. What does that mean for the future of football going forward? Does that mean this season that if you know the whistle's gone for a free kick, a throw in, an offside, whatever, okay, I'll just go 2-footed on someone then. I'll just throw an elbow in someone then, because if they're not gonna punish you for stuff that's happened after a free kick, then what does it matter anymore?
I think the scariest thing about it all is, and I still stand by VAR, because I don't believe you should be able to have an unfair. I don't think the wrong team should win a game. I don't think the wrong team should get the result. But honestly, when you see professional referees, these are paid. These have done years of training. They have got themselves into this position. And my mum, bless her, she doesn't watch football, and she sees the challenge. She sees as if these offside, and if she can see it, bless her. If anyone watching it across a pub 30 metres away with one screen there can go, that's a foul, that's offside, how can a man with multiple camera angles and all the time in the world not go, listen, mate, I think you should have a look at that? How does it happen? And it's every single week.
Wonderful. So, Ed, this brings my next question, right? So, the only way that Pickford can be retrospectively punished is if Michael Oliver says in his match report that he didn't see the incident, which I'm assuming he didn't because he didn't book him, X, Y, Z. So then that begs the question, right? So there's two outcomes here. So Michael Oliver says he didn't see it, didn't see the incident, then Pickford can get retrospectively banned, which would be the right outcome. But then you've already got a question. How was he not seeing that? So if there was no VAR, so 2 years ago, or whatever it was, when there's no VAR, if your goalkeeper went in like that on someone and you got away with it scot-free, like what is that? That's it? Like that's the end of it? Like we've brought VAR into football for these exact reasons, for situations that the referees either miss or they don't interpret or whatever. So, like I said, with the match report, so does Michael Oliver now? He's got two options. He either has to admit his fault and say he didn't see the situation, so they can retrospectively ban him, which then puts himself in the firing line. How have you missed this incident? But then if he does say he's witnessed the incident and hasn't decided to take any action against Pickford, then that's it, because Pickford can't get any retrospective. That's Michael Oliver saying, I've seen it. And then even then, his stock drops because people are like, well, how have you seen that assault and not decided to give a card, a yellow at minimum. So honestly, I don't think Michael Oliver can win. I think he might have to sit out a weekend of Premier League action.
I've been thinking, do you think perhaps we should evaluate the English officiators we have?
100% all the time.
I mean, I always believe this. I mean, if we use foreign exports for the Premier League players, for Premier League managers, why are we not doing it for officials? If they're 100%. Not meeting the benchmark and clearly not enough are coming in, then there should be some form of perhaps a promotion or relegation system, or not like a football table. But why can we not have the top referees with, a significantly smaller error rate playing in one of the most profitable football leagues, sports leagues in the world? But no, we're sticking by the same poor English officiators.
I can already feel like ET. I can feel Gav is watching this and his head's boiling because he's an ex-ref. But honestly, we've spoken about the officiating in the Prem for the last few years. I don't think any of us think it's up to scratch. VAR coming in was supposed to help refs, and it's almost like they've just kind of like not regressed, but they're laying back on it, and we've said this before, in high pressure situations, it's very easy now for a ref to just not give the penalty or not give the red card and then rely on the VAR sort of thing. So we've had a few comments during this about talking about our VAR. So we've got this one saying Man United got a penalty after full time. The penalty wasn't actually given after full time. The incident happened during the given game time, so that is a no-go. It's the same as punching someone during play. No, it's exactly that. So now what you're saying is, if the whistle's been blown for a foul or a free kick or offside, so are you allowed to hit someone? Are you allowed to do whatever? It's setting such a awful precedent, and I just don't know where we go from here. And Ed, I was the same as you. If you watch far back enough in the channel, like the first few videos, me and Gav were talking about VAR. He didn't want it. I was very much for it because it helps the referees with stuff they don't see. We'll get onto the offside in a minute. And unfortunately, with the offside rule, it's not the same as when you get a speeding ticket, right? When you get a speeding ticket, if it's a 30 zone, you get a 10% variance, don't you? If you're within that 10% variance, you get away with it. Unfortunately, there is no 10% variance with offside. You're on or you're off. As awful as it is, and down to the millimetre, and we'll get on to what happened in this game in a minute, you're on or you're off. There is no other way about it. These decisions with the red cards or not red cards, X, Y, Z, it's still very subjectual, and if the referees aren't catching it, then who is? Because the people how has Michael Oliver missed that? Fair enough. If he hasn't seen it, he hasn't seen it. Like we said, if he hasn't seen it, then it has to be put in his report. But how has the guy in Stockley Park seen that replay and gone, oh yeah, don't worry about the scissor challenge?
The matter is, the ball gets crossed in, it continues to go out of play. Pickford's come flying in, took Van Dijk out. The ball hasn't changed course. What does he think happened?
Yeah, exactly.
What does he think's happened? And maybe I sound arrogant, or perhaps I sound like, oh, it's not that simple. But every time I look at an offside decision, I can tell you instantly whether it's onside or offside. If you can't work it out, if you have to pull out a line to check for millimetres, it's clearly too tight for you to make a call. It's inconclusive. You let it carry on. At the moment you crack out a line, you cannot tell. So therefore, give the goal. You know when someone's offside. You know it.
Gary Lineker made a really good point last night on Match of the Day, which was like, we all have lost sight on it. We definitely all have lost sight on that. Gary Lineker even said, let's not lose sight on the fact that level is actually onside. We're so with these lines and these spreadsheets that they drop across the screen like it's RoboCop.
Yeah,
we forget that like level is on. We're always looking for the foot over or the elbow over or the arm, this, that, and the other. We forget that level is actually onside, and this is not the first time this season we've had this conversation or this chat on this channel about offsides and VAR, and it will not be the last by any stretch. But moving on, we're not moving on from the game. We'll move on to the game. But Pickford should have been sent. Pickford should have been sent off. Yeah.
What do you think?
Even if they don't give the penalty and they say it's offside, but the foul
no,
was
I don't
committed,
think it should have been a penalty. It still should have been just a red card.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's what I agree.
That's if we're saying that it's still offside, but it's violent conduct after the play or endangering the player, whatever you want, whatever umbrella you want to put it under. Even if you give that offside, he's sent off, right?
Yeah, that's what I agree.
Now, after 6 minutes, that changes the game, right? Either way, it's already 1-0. Then we have
your aerial threat.
Then we have you've lost your aerial threat, but you shouldn't have been put in an aerial threat for the first goal because Calvert-Lewin's shot from a ridiculous angle isn't going in, isn't troubling any normal goalkeeper, but Adrian decides to parry it around the post anyway. For whatever reason.
Only parries the ball. It's quite frustrating as a Liverpool fan because he's not confident in catching it and it just puts you in another dangerous position. So
that shot was going wide.
Yeah,
that shot was going wide.
I know it was going wide, but he's not a goalkeeper full of confidence.
No, but you're right. So
similar to Jordan Pickford.
When you say it's doubled the problem, it has doubled the problem because it's a shot that was nothing. He's parried it out for a corner, and that corner comes in. Like you said, you've lost your aerial threat. Michael Keane, and I mean, what more can you say about like Chris Packett wrists is the only thing you can say. It's literally come straight at him. It's hit him here, and it's still managed to bend his fingers back and go in. Let's not dwell on it too much. It's a poor save. Well, it's not a save. It's poor attempt at a save. It's 1-1. I still think it was in Liverpool's ascendancy, and then obviously you go 2-1 up.
Yeah, Mo Salah with a fantastic goal.
Fantastic goal.
I think even Mo wasn't expecting to bang that one. He just tried his luck with that. It was a snapshot, instant reaction.
Just press shoot.
Yeah, literally, it was press circle. That's all that was. And it went in. I jumped out off the sofa. I thought, this is it. But then I remembered Van Dijk's not on the pitch. And come to bite us again, Dominic Calvert-Lewin with a Ronaldo-esque jump.
Monster header.
Alex
Absolute
Osborne.
Monster header. Yeah, Alex, to be fair, so our own two up top Alex, you lot wouldn't have seen it, but in the group chat a few days ago, he literally... there was the video of Ronaldo doing the ridiculous leap and how long his hang time was. And Alex said how Calvert-Lewin almost reminds him of Ronaldo with how long he hangs up with the header time and stuff. And he this week absolutely proved right. He was up there for 4 minutes. Not even just that, the header was perfectly placed bottom corner. He is on some run of form. Is Calvert-Lewin's form confidence? And is the confidence because of Ancelotti? Or is he just thriving under a decent manager for once?
It's a combination, of course it is. They're playing to Dominic Calvert-Lewin's strengths. And that is target man. But he's not necessarily the old traditional target man we've come to expect, where their only outlet is just whipping the ball to him. The team is built around him, in truth. James Rodriguez is a fantastic crosser of the ball, which works perfectly for Calvert-Lewin. Carlo Ancelotti's shown faith in him, and he's showing the faith back. And when a man's in confident form, the way Calvert-Lewin is, he's going to bang goals in. And he's certainly going to be breathing down Kane's neck, Rashford's neck, for Euro spot. He's in terrific form, and he was certainly likely to score the moment Van Dijk was off the pitch. Yeah.
Well, and then Liverpool thought they had won it in the 94th minute.
Should have won it, and that's not even coming from a biased perspective. As
what would be in the Merseyside Derby. There's no Merseyside Derby with that late minute drama. But I'm going to go to you first, Ed, because obviously you're a Liverpool fan. Offside?
No.
You're not having it?
I mean, okay, so because I was watching the game with my heart in my mouth, when the moment it went to VAR, I did what lots of people, I was like, oh, it's offside. You know what I mean? I'm trying to soften the blow for myself. I'm trying to just go, oh, it's offside. So everything pleasantly surprises me. But there's no way in hell that's offside. We clearly... This one hurts me because we've been on the good side of VAR, Liverpool, in comparison to a lot of teams the last 2 years. But I've always stood by other people and agreed with the decisions which has gone against them. I've not been happy with the way it's been implemented. And that there was just the worst advertisement for VAR, one of the worst advertisements for what the Premier League's became. Of course, Everton will be chuffed with it. And I was quite impressed with how Everton played, because usually they play for a draw. And today they actually went for it. And I'm gutted. Because that would have been a perfect finale to a hard contested game.
I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence, Ed. I'm very much either way, because like we just said, the offside rule is the offside rule. If they're off, they're off. If they're on, they're on. What I will say in Liverpool's defence is they can draw that line on Mane, right, and show his elbows a millimetre offside. Okay, that's fine.
Which
But
you
we
can't
still
score
don't
with.
no, but we still don't have the technology, right? If you think of these HD cameras of how many frames per second they're taking the picture, right? When we can categorically say that was the frame that he struck the ball with, because you could honestly easily show me Mane onside and offside, and in a half a millisecond, you could show me 6 different pictures of when the ball was struck. So until you can actually pinpoint and do the technology of like frames per second of when the ball is touched to when the player is offside, then come back to me. I want this millimeter. If you're offside rule. I want it. Don't get me wrong, but with the Mane one, like I said, when you can physically show me how you've calculated when the ball was touched, because there's under like a millisecond in that, and I'm not sure. In the picture they've used for VR, he's offside. He's by literally a badger's nutsack hair, but
then it's not offside.
well, if he's off by a millimeter, he's off by a millimeter. Like I listen, I saw it and I thought, wow, that's harsh. But if he's off, he's off. So until we get the technology, like I said, where we can pinpoint when the pass is made, when the player receives the ball, then we won't know. But it finished. Yeah, 2-2.
Anthony Rich made a good point though. It's losing both Alisson and Van Dijk. But of course, that's the problem. I mean, before Alisson and Van Dijk, that Liverpool was scoring tons of goals. There was never an issue with Liverpool's attack. It was their defence, and they brought in Alisson and Van Dijk. That was their 2 targets. He was only interested in 2 club, and now he's lost them both. So I'd expect to see a Liverpool from a few years ago.
Even when Liverpool were running away with the league last year, I said so many times on the show last year, even when it was January, when Liverpool were literally however many points ahead, I literally said, if you go out now and you buy Koulibaly or you buy anyone to pair against Van Dijk, you will cement the league for the next 2-3 years. Like you're building a dynasty sort of thing. And they didn't. And now it's kind of come back to bite because Lovren's gone. You've literally now got Matip and Gomez. And I like Gomez. I know a lot of Liverpool fans actually don't seem to like Gomez.
But Matip, I called him a team because you did that. I love Matip.
Yeah.
I love Matip.
But there's going to be problems at Liverpool for the next few games because of Van Dijk. But we're going to have to move on because we've spent a lot of time.
Please.
No, but I'm rightly so because there was a lot of talking points in that game. So we're going to go. We're just going to do it like timeline wise. So we're now going to talk about Chelsea against Southampton. If you haven't, I feel like match of the day. If you haven't seen the score, it finished, believe it or not, Chelsea 3, Southampton 3. So Chelsea went 1-0 up with Timo Werner finally scoring. It's a half decent goal. I'll come back on this. Just 2 seconds, we'll go back to this. I'm with you both on this. I love accuracy, but as I said, if it's not clear, surely they're on because innocent until proven guilty. But that again, like I said, level is onside. So until they come back with a complete system where they can sort the offside out, we're stuck with it. So Chelsea went 1-0 with Werner. He'd already scored, but it was ruled out for offside. He scored his first goal. It was just a whole hodgepodge of a mess of a goal. His second goal, though, is what I'd like to talk about because his second goal, where he looped the ball over the keeper and headed it into an empty net. Have you seen it, Ed?
No, I missed this game, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So, anyone watching would like to disagree with me. Timo Werner's second goal, handball. Very clear handball. I don't know why VR has not looked into it. I don't know if there was so much going on in the game that they brushed over it, but the ball's dropped over the top. It's hit Werner like here, and he's just... Then his next touch is taking it over the keeper and headering it in. So have we given up on handballs with the VAR, or is it just for certain
Would you
teams?
prefer we gave up on handballs?
Yeah, right.
If they're inconclusive like that, are you
100%.
happy with the fact?
So pre VAR life, I wouldn't have cared about that goal because it's brushed his forearm, but it's not intentional. Blah blah. But when it happens to everyone every week, you support a team, I support a team. We have handballs given against us every week. We have goals ruled out for handballs every other week. So it's only fair sort of thing. Like, so football hat on, and 2 years ago at VAR, I wouldn't want that Werner goal ruled out at all. Now, if my team's getting goals ruled out for that, I want that ruled out as well.
Of course.
Ed, it's pretty clear as well. It's like pure forearm, and I don't know why they haven't even looked at it.
Now, I was following the scores, though, for this game. So Timo Werner gets his first Premier League goal for Chelsea, followed swiftly by a second. I think
his second, which was the handball.
Yeah, he got his first in the League Cup, his first official goal for Chelsea Football Club. Hopefully now, just by showing he can get that second goal swiftly, he can push on and be the goal-scoring machine we've come to know from him in the Bundesliga. The problem is, it doesn't matter how many goals Timo Werner scores, Chelsea will concede just as many at the back.
Yes, they will, because Danny Ings' goal was one of the most easiest goals you'll see in the Premier League. He literally walked it round Kepa. Chelsea conceded 3 yesterday, and I don't think you can really blame Kepa for any of them, which is a shock. But Ings, the Chelsea defending was absolutely terrible for the goal, so it made it 2-1. Ings literally rounded the keeper and tapped into an empty net.
Great so
even then, you're thinking still a Chelsea game until this Che Adams goal. Now I think I can blame Kepa for this one. This Che Adams goal, Kepa comes into no man's land, doesn't claim anything. In fact, he clips one of the players. So if it wasn't a goal, I think they could have had a shout for a penalty because he's clipped someone's ankles. Then the ball hits the post, it hits a defender, and then Che Adams smashes it, top bins, 2-2. Southampton think they're back in the game. And then literally 2 minutes later, Timo Werner decides he wants to become creator rather than scorer, sets up Kai Havertz for, is that his first Premier League goal? I don't want to say that without saying, but I think it might be his first Premier League goal. Literally a tap-in. Chelsea think they've got all the 3 points. But as Ed alluded to, they literally can't defend at the minute. Chelsea's conceded record under Lampard is absolutely atrocious. I'm going to get these figures wrong, but I'm like in the ballpark. They talked about it yesterday, and it was something like 58 games, 69 conceded or something. It's a negative KD for Frank Lampard. But Chelsea thought they had it wrapped up until the 92nd minute with a foul that didn't need to be a foul, and a free kick comes into the box, and it's, to say it was poorly defended would give the impression that it was defended because it wasn't defended. I think it was Walcott smashes like a cross-come shot back across the box. Vestergaard sticks a head on it. In it goes, 3-3, and Chelsea lose 3 points to get the 1.
Chelsea will be increasingly frustrated by these performances. They were brought into this, maybe not all Chelsea fans, but I think when you make them signings, regardless of what we thought of them, you would have had the excitement of title, especially when you finished in the top 4 the year prior.
Gotcha. Ed.
But with the competition for top 4 and the goals they're leaking, you could even miss out on Champions League, which means you're going to regress, and that could be the end of Lampard's tenure at Chelsea, because we've never seen Chelsea stick with a man with results like that.
And I hate talking about money and what money equates to and whether it should be a good player because you spent money. Listen, Chelsea have spent this summer, and anything other than top 4 come Christmas, and I think Frank is in a whole world of trouble. I really do. I honestly think the nostalgia has rubbed off now. I don't think it's the same with Solskjaer. Like everyone wants to dig out Solskjaer, but how come no one else is digging out Frank? He's spent a lot of money. He's already had time there. They're not particularly progressing under him, and I don't think they will. I think this is how the season is going to go, sort of thing.
Yeah, so, well, hopefully Frank Lampard can resolve the issue because we need more British managers. But if he hasn't got it, he hasn't got it.
Moving on to the next game then of the day was Manchester City versus Arsenal, which I was thinking and hoping was going to be an absolute blockbuster. Now, what I got was Manchester City ended up winning the game 1-0. I don't know if everyone saw it. I don't know what. Ed, did you see the game?
No, I watched the game, yeah.
It wasn't particularly spectacular, was it?
I think the reason I wasn't expecting such a spectacular game is I like how Arsenal play. They're very realistic with what they can do. They're very good at soaking up the pressure. And with players like Willian, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Saka, like they pose a serious threat 90 minutes a game. That they no longer look the team that will concede 4, 5, 6 the moment the going gets tough. Manchester City, without Kevin De Bruyne, are not going to create as much chances, and they're a team which is in not the greatest of form. No, so when I saw them two coming together, I didn't expect there to be a goal fest. Raheem Sterling again gets a goal. It will do him the world of good. Manchester City, I think, because of how they started and the way they finished last season, will be. It sounds mad, a bit like a dark horse, or not, maybe like a silent horse, because as much as I'd always back City to be in the top 2, they've been quite quiet about their business.
Yeah,
and I just feel like we'll see them.
I very much thought this season would be the season that City would get it together, because there's no way Pep's letting them have a season like they had last season. There's no way he's not digging out those players. But every game they've played, maybe since lockdown, but definitely this season, has been very uninspiring. Even when they win the games, like this game yesterday, like it was very, very passive. I think Arsenal could really feel hard done by for not getting a point or something out of the game. I think City were that passive and that just meh.
But Manchester City still know that they are vulnerable at the back.
But they always will be.
No, but that's what I mean. They knew what they had to address. They thought, okay, we've lost a leader in company. Bought Nathan Ake. It's like if there was a defender they were crying out for, it wasn't him.
And then they spent X amount, 60 million on Diaz as well.
But regardless, they still have a fantastic squad, and you'd expect them at a minimum to be challenging for the title. Arsenal look much better than they did in previous years. Just what I'd say to Arsenal fans is just be patient with the process. Be patient.
Yeah. So Man City took the lead after 23 minutes with Raheem Sterling. It was basically Phil Foden's work, cutting in from the inside, having a shot. Me and Alex had a disagreement about this. I think that, seeing as how the shot was pretty straight at Leno, and it was hit with a bit of power, I don't really know what Leno is supposed to do other than parry it. It's unlucky that it's fallen to Raheem Sterling, but the reason it's fallen to Raheem Sterling is because there's about 3 City players unmarked in the box when the second ball lands. And you can look at your goalkeeper for parrying or whatever, but if there's that many players free in the box for the ball to land to, you can't really blame your keeper. Sterling literally rolled it into an empty net. I'm looking at the image here from Sterling tapping it in, and there's Sterling, Aguero, and Mahrez all completely unmarked, putting it into the empty net. So can't have too many complaints there.
Can we perhaps quickly just put in, as we're shooting this podcast, Leicester versus Aston Villa has just wrapped up, and Aston Villa have won their 4th game on the trot. A last-minute win from Ross Barkley.
Have they actually just won that game? No way! Oh my lord!
Beating the likes of Liverpool and now Leicester this week.
So the table currently reads: Everton played 5, 13 points. Aston Villa played 4, 12 points.
Are we looking at the new title winners? No, I'm joking. But they should be very proud of themselves. They've played terrific. I can't comment on that 90 minutes.
That is crazy. That is crazy. So yeah, so the City Arsenal game ended 1-0. Not so much without incident. It was a bit of a sort of game.
Lackluster.
Yeah, party came on that everyone's been hyped for. And what's a birthday party without a card because he got booked in the 90-something minute.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. Pretty much
Next.
of a bit of a nothing. It was builders master versus apprentice with Pep and Arteta. Didn't live up to any of that billing.
I tell you what, though, I think Pep will be happy to have got the win over Arteta because
100%. Yeah. Just because you don't want to get beaten
after that FA Cup knockout.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I'll echo the sentiments that you said, Ed. I think Arsenal fans. I said it at the start of the season. I think they've got a lot to look forward to. I think that be optimistic, like you said, stick by it. The process is clearly sort of there.
Don't get excited because you're just going to set yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah, they're doing the right things. Yeah, enjoy the process. They're doing the right things. Get Ozil off the books, and everyone's a winner. And then the last game of Saturday was Newcastle United versus Manchester United. Now,
you were coming in at underdogs in this game.
Yeah, massive underdogs. So I was at work. For this. So I've watched the full 90 minutes back. So I'm whatever. But I was at work for this, and I straight away got the notification on my phone. 2 minutes in, Luke Shaw own goal, Newcastle 1-0, and I was literally like, "Here we go again." But having seen the full 90 minutes, having watched the game, we actually look pretty good. Listen, I know it's Newcastle. Don't get me wrong. I'm when I say we look good, it's in context. Maguire kind of silencing a little bit of people. Like people said he should have had a rest and should he still be playing. Me myself said he shouldn't have been playing at national break. Good header. It's about time he starts scoring headers because he's a big man. He's a big figure in the box. He should be scoring more goals than he is. But there we go. So Maguire scored a header to make it 1-1. Now, Bruno Fernandes is human after all because he missed a penalty. Well, I would say missed penalty. It's a good save, but he missed a penalty. And then this game kind of just like lost control sort of thing. So in the 85th minute, it was 1-1. And then Bruno scored, which was an absolutely ridiculous. Hold on, just quickly before we talk about this, like the breakaway for the move for the penalty, Bruno just hit some half volley sprayed 70-yard swerve pass that was just. But anyway, so Bruno's goal. Oh, back to front goal. What a goal. Nice interplay. Rashford's burst forward with the ball. He's got to just inside the box. Just a lovely, nonchalant little back heel to set up Bruno. Bruno from a tight angle. And you know what? It's not even top bins. It's like one of those ones that's like, it's like rustled the inside of the net before it's gone top bins. Like it's just touched the inside of the net before it's gone top corner. In the 86th minute, which was a nice goal. And then in his 50th Manchester United appearance, Wan-Bissaka scored an absolute screamer. And is that his? I'm pretty sure that's his first Premier League goal. I might be wrong, but it was an absolute
thump. For you as well. I think it's also his last Premier League goal.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, but it was an absolute thump. And then I didn't even realise this till I got home and I was watching Match of the Day. But then Rashford scored. And it's a great finish from Rashford, yeah, but this pass is just so dumb. It's literally taking like 6 players out of the game to the point where Rashford's one-on-one with the keeper. By the time the ball lands at his feet, he's one-on-one with the keeper, keeps his cool. Great finish, Rashford. About time we won a game. And I said today, going into this, that if we would have lost today to Newcastle, then the knives would have been out in the press for Ollie. Rightly so or not, I'm not going to comment on that because I still rate the guy. But if we'd have lost heavily today, I genuinely think it could have been the end for him with Poch waiting in the wings. But we finally seem to be hitting a little bit of, I wouldn't say form, but at least a little we knew we were playing together. We've got PSG on Tuesday, so we'll see how that one works. But
it's not what you need.
No, it's not what we need at all. But Manchester United won 4-1.
I've got to give credit where credit's due, though. I'm not going to go into the details, but I don't think Solskjaer's the man. But I've got to give him credit for pulling his team together, both physically, psychologically. He had some real players down in the dumps there, and to get a result after an international break, after a thumping by top 4 rivals, he's done very well to achieve that, and especially Maguire.
Just a quick one. We'll move on from United instantly after this, but I will say the people that say that Solskjaer is out of his depth or he doesn't know what he's doing or whatever, blah blah blah.
Me.
We finished 3rd in the league last season and got to a European Cup final and an FA Cup semi-final, a European semi-final, sorry, and an FA Cup semi-final.
I was about to say, no, you didn't.
Now, is that not a half decent season? Like, if that was anyone else, in a club in the top 4.
It was the way you closed out the season. It was how you came back from the break. I think that was why people were raising questions. Second half of the season,
okay. So why doesn't he get credit for the second half of the season then? Still the same manager. He got those performances out of those same players.
Because you're one of the biggest clubs on planet Earth, and you draw a lot of attention.
Ed, we both know that the squad isn't good enough.
I didn't say the squad was. I'm just saying you're always going to get negative feedback.
True.
The whole world's watching now.
So moving on to today's games. First game of the day was Sheffield United versus Fulham in what we at Two Up Top have got down as...
wasn't this on pay-per-view?
It was on pay-per-view. Imagine spending £15 to watch Sheffield United versus Fulham on a Sunday morning.
A 6-point colossal masterpiece.
Now, we are not advocating piracy, but I would strongly suggest if you ever want to spend £15 watching Sheffield United versus Fulham, you would find other means.
We have a website for you.
Yeah, the game didn't even spark into life. I watched the first half and it was a championship clash. It was just very, very tight, not much going on, scrappy, not much going on.
What you would expect from the two bottom teams.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the season, I thought Fulham would struggle. Just looking at their squad, I didn't necessarily day one expect Sheffield United to struggle, but they're in some like real dire straits right now. Nothing really happened until Mitrovic missed a penalty,
and that was some miss as well.
Yeah, it's
still travelling,
still coming down from orbit. Which is Mitrovic he's failed to score 4 of his past 10 penalties in all competitions against English teams. I'd stop giving him the penalties.
I'd be interested to know, is that Fulham's the Leeds game? Is that the first time Fulham have gone up in a game in the Premier League so far?
Taking the lead, yeah, it is. Yeah,
taking the lead. Yeah, they'll be gutted with that. But
so Fulham took the lead.
Yeah,
no, carry on. No, you go on.
I'm really concerned by Fulham because I don't enjoy watching them play football.
No.
They look. I'll tell you what my problem is. My problem is with Scott Parker. I don't have a problem with him as a man, as a player. I quite respected him as a player, a long-time servant at the Premier League. He is not a Premier League manager.
But that's the thing. Being a geezer.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. He's more. I said he looked like a car salesman. But do you know what else he reminds me of? He reminds me of you play football, and it'd be like someone's dad was the coach. That's who Scott Parker is. He's just. If you're 1-0 down for anyone, he's not coming up with the answer.
I see the same in Frank though. Being a geezer or being an ex-player doesn't mean necessarily. Like we might be doing Scott a disservice because he did get him promoted. Don't get me wrong, but I'm the same with you. I don't see it in him. I don't see Fulham lasting. They did take the lead, though, through a Doma Lookman. Absolute smashing finish. Reminded me very much of the FIFA 21 gameplay at the minute, because someone tackled him and the ball bounced off his shin and then his knee and still bounced through and he still hit it. And it went top bins. Cracking goal. And they thought they had it won until the 85th minute, where Billy Sharp, absolute journeyman, long-serving Billy Sharp, scored a penalty. I love Billy Sharp. He is pure Championship manager material. But Sheffield United Fulham finished 1-1.
Scott Parker's replacement.
Scott Parker's, yeah, exactly that. So Sheffield United Fulham finished 1-1, which leaves Fulham 19th in the table with 1 point, and Sheffield United 17th with 1 point. Early days, I know, but I can't see. I see Fulham going down, and we've said already this season on the show that we see Sheffield United struggling. So it's going to be that's
the key word, struggling. I'm not sold.
They might not go down, but they might not go down. But
they're still hard to beat. They're still hard to break down. The problem is they're not taking the 1 or 2 chances they get a game, and they're leaving it open. But,
so the next game this afternoon was Crystal Palace versus Brighton and Hove Albion, which is that sort of a London derby?
No, it's a postcode derby, I believe.
Are we calling that?
On the radio, they mentioned some form of derby. And
NM5. So yeah. Before we actually crack on further into this game, so Crystal Palace took the lead with a Zaha penalty in the 19th minute. Now, I'm not even going to pretend that I've seen the penalty decision or what it was given for. I'm not even going to do that. The question I am going to ask to you, Ed, though, is Wilfried Zaha at Crystal Palace. Now, I know the transfer window was a bit quiet for everyone, but we all kind of know that Wilf wants to go, whether it's informal or formal. He wants to go. He is a better player than to be there fighting relegation or whatever the situation is. Come deadline day and no one's put a bid in, as Wilf Zaha, are you putting a transfer request in? Are you trying to force the move?
He's already put a transfer request in. It was only last summer he wanted to move to Everton.
But
and
yeah,
that would have been a great signing.
He withdrew that one last year. So like
he withdrew that one, but you never know what's going on behind the scenes.
No, exactly.
He has ambition, hence why he joined Man United X years ago.
But do you know what the talk was? The talk was probably why it might have fell through, because Zaha was in line to go to Dortmund to replace Jadon Sancho. So maybe that's why he stuck around.
What was that? What player was that, Cotton?
No one. So moving swiftly on. So Zaha scored a penalty for Crystal Palace in the 19th minute. Not a lot really went on in this game.
It was a very boring game. Brighton always posed a threat. They didn't give up the entire way through the game. But why should a team give up when you're only 1-0 down? I did watch the game. I was hoping for a Crystal Palace clean sheet for FPL reasons. But yeah, it was a fantastic strike in the 89th minute of the game.
I haven't seen it, but it was McAllister that scored the goal. So Ed, you'll have to fill me in on that one. What was it like?
But I don't want to. It wasn't a complicated goal. Literally, it was from the left flank. They come into the box. I can't remember who's the striker for Crystal Palace.
Benteke was on, or was it always Batshuayi?
He just cuts the ball back to the centre of the box, and he just smashes it, and it just goes top left bins. Goalkeeper's doing nothing about it. He's only looking at it.
McAllister that got the goal. 90, so that was it. Goal-wise, then the 90 plus third minute, Lewis Dunk got sent off. I haven't seen it, so care to enlighten me why Lewis Dunk got sent off?
I didn't even know Lewis Dunk got sent off.
Yeah, well, apparently. So that doesn't count. If we up top don't know why he got sent off.
What minute was that?
90 plus 3.
Okay, so I would have switched it off about 91 minutes then.
That's fine.
Looking at his conclusion.
Now, if we had the graphics, have we got? Hold on, let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna check just give me
Yeah,
2
you definitely
seconds.
do have these graphics.
I don't know if we do. I don't know if we do. You know what I'm talking about? I don't. No, it's for some reason they're not. They're not in there. No, they're not in there.
Tottenham.
Yeah, they're not in there. Unless it's this one, but I can't view it without like yeah.
No,
So
don't do
anyway,
that because it's going to be
no,
the
I won't
Everton
do it.
one.
So anyway, Tottenham Hotspur versus West Ham United. I'm going to give a massive shout out real quick before we start to one of our friends, one of the followers of the show, Rob, who is an absolute nonce because he texts me 8 minutes into the game.
Quite an accusation.
Ed, listen to this, yeah. 8 minutes into the game. You saw it in the group chat, 8 minutes into the game, right? And Tottenham were 2-0 up. Son, goal assisted by Kane. Kane, goal assisted by Son. Now, this guy had put on separate bets. He put a bet on for Son to be assisted by Kane, Kane to be assisted by Son, and then he put like a double on, which was like 66-1 of Kane to be assisted by Son and Son to be assisted by Kane. My man has put on about 15 quid's worth of bets, and in 8 minutes, he's won 650 quid. So, can we go round to Rob's house, check his hard drive, see what he knows? I'm upset about it. But,
look, I've won one of them bets before. They were fantastic.
no, but he had 4 separate bets on, so I'm annoyed about it. So, Tottenham took the lead from Son in the first minute. It was 40-something seconds or whatever it was. Anyone that's been sleeping on Son, because people keep saying to me, "Oh, he's actually half decent, and he behave." Son has been an absolute baller since.
I feel like he's always been rated.
I was say, even when he was at Leverkusen, he's been a baller, man. So great goal. Then Kane scored. Great goal.
He's proven he's not just a striker.
Do you know what? Kane, man, at the minute is just levels, man. Like he's link up play. He's not even just scoring at the minute. Every game, if he scores, he seems to be assisting as well. He just seems to be. I don't know whether that's Jose getting that out of him, because I know Jose likes all of his players to be able to do everything at once or whatever it is.
Harry Kane's always done. He's always, even for England.
His hold-up play is just, it's just nuts, man. So Tottenham were 3-0 up after 16 minutes. They were also 3-0 up in the 81st minute. And then the proverbial excrement hit the fan. Balbuena scored, which was a bit of a nothing goal sort of thing. Davinson Sanchez then 3 minutes later turned into his own net. And do you know what? I know a lot of Spurs fans and a lot of Spurs fans on Twitter have like some serious beef with Davinson Sanchez. And do you know what? Like, I don't know whether too much was expected of him because he came out of that Ajax team that got to the Champions League semi or the final or whatever it was.
Champions League semi-final, knocked out.
Yeah, they got to Tottenham. Yeah. I don't know if too much expectation was placed on Davinson Sanchez, because I don't see the performances that bring this sort of hate. Do you know what I mean? Like, because the Spurs fans really do not like him. And I just don't.
There's lots of them players though. You get it's like what Willian was at Chelsea from an outside perspective. I rate Willian on the inside, but they are them players. You know, if you watch your team week in, week out, you analyse every player. You know how they can play. I understand it.
I completely understand it, but at the same time, I think. Me personally, I think Davinson Sanchez is still very good. But then it all really did hit the fan when 94th minute, corner comes out, edge of the box, and Lanzini's gone, listen, boys, I've had enough of this. I'm hitting it outside of the boot. And it is literally like one of the it's the cleanest strike since JFK, I'm telling you. It's literally gone absolute. It's gone absolute like outside of the boot, top bins. It's like hit the bar, hit the post. Lloris ain't got a clue. And is this the first player to be yellow carded for taking a shirt off in a stadium with no fans?
I mean, you'd have to fact check that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
But
I mean, I bet he's never going to score a better goal than that again.
In his life,
and no one will ever see it.
I was like, in his defense, for him taking the shirt off, like, go for it, son. It's 94th minute, mate, and you just ping that top bins. Go on, off you go. Forrest Gump it straight down the tunnel, mate. Don't even worry about it. So
I'd be good if he was in your fantasy team. Yo, he scored. Oh, and he's got a yellow.
Yeah. So in true Tottenham Hotspur fashion, all of the Tottenham Twitter, which was lovely, was incredible at halftime when it was 3-0. League title aspirations at 3-0. And then in 8 minutes.
You look at the table now, and especially with injuries to Van Dijk and the level of competition we've got, even teams like Aston Villa playing well, it's going to be an open title race. That wasn't me saying Aston Villa are in it, by the way.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
top 4 is going to be a struggle for people. Top 6 is going to be a struggle for people. Like this season is going to be absolute. It's probably going to be the most open, not just title season. It's going to be the most open season there has been for ever, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've been impressed with Tottenham, regardless of
I have as well. Like I'm not backing on them.
It's been one of them seasons already, and we're 5 games in now, and you just got to take it on the chin and move on. You're playing positive football.
Do you know what? As well, like I think Tottenham have been very good, and I've had to eat my own words because I thought they wouldn't be very good to start the season,
especially after losing to Everton opening game.
Yep. So I'll have some humble pie. Like Spurs are very good; they look good. Mourinho looks like he's actually got a team to click, sort of thing. But what I will say is, like you said, this season is so early on that you literally can't take the piss out of one of your friends' teams for losing 7-2 because. Listen, it might be you next week. You don't know. Like when literally the same day when everyone's taking the piss out, United losing 6-1 to Tottenham. Listen, I'd rather lose 6-1 to a top 4 team than losing 7-2 to someone that stayed up on points. Do you know what I mean?
Give it a rest.
Hold on. But that's what I mean. That's the situation. Like so. You literally at this point in time can't even take the piss for drawing, losing, whatever. Everyone just needs to shut up. give it 10 games. Let's see where we are in a month or two or Christmas. Then we can start giving it Billy Big Bollocks. But at the minute, genuinely, everyone's beating everyone for absolutely no reason. Which brings us to our very last game of the day, which was today, which is just finished while we've been on air, which was pay-per-view, which I can't even believe they're asking people £15 for this game, which is an absolute shambles. We'll have another, probably talk about that on the debate show. But Ross Barkley scored an injury time winner to maintain Aston Villa's 100% start to the season against Leicester. Aston Villa have played 4 games in the Premier League this season.
They have a game in hand.
And won 4 games. This is the team that stayed up. Not only just on goal difference, they stayed up because of that goal that never was against Sheffield United.
Well, they've got some security now. Their manager's still there. Grealish is committed. They've brought some signings in. They've not had tons of international players going out. They've not had players playing in European competitions. As soon as they finish that season, they've regrouped and they go, this is what we're going to do. They've stuck by their guns and it pays off. I mean, it won't, you probably look at a high mid-table finish if they carry on. But
100%.
Yeah, exactly. And credit to him. Leicester City, I think Leicester are very much in the same boat as the rest of the top 6. One week you're on fire, the next week you're on fire. Leicester
are still in 4th as things go at the minute. Like they're not terrible, they're not great sort of thing. So, but going back to what you're saying,
I'm excited for the season.
Yeah, me too. Going back to what you were saying about the Aston Villa signings, Ross Barkley, I know he's been obviously Chelsea brought him, and even when they spent that money on him, I thought it was a bit of a homegrown English quota signing, and he probably deserved a bit more. But I think him going on loan to Villa is, did he go on loan or was he wasn't brought? Was he? That's a loan, isn't it?
He's on loan.
Yeah. So him going to. him on loan, it just benefits everyone, man. Like Barkley's going to get consistent game time. Villa are getting a very good creative player that's not been given the time to shine. And
the team's been built around the midfield, and they needed a
yeah,
player to match Jack Grealish. You needed a fellow international player, someone who knows how he plays, someone who needs to prove a point. It made perfect sense. He can play deep. The thing is with Ross Barkley, he was the standout player at Everton. The team was built around him. And then when he went to Chelsea, he became one player amongst a big pot of superstars.
yeah,
And he kind of
just
lost
another
his way a
cog.
bit. But
Yeah,
at
just another
Aston
brick in the
Villa, he
wall.
can really take a hold in his career again. So, you know, Aston Villa fans have got to be excited. Jack Grealish is clearly chuffed that he's playing with someone whose
on his
aspirations
level.
are probably bigger than Villa.
Yeah. So that was it. That was this weekend's Premier League games out the window. So I think we've done all right without Daddy Mac. We've survived through it.
Sorry, guys, I didn't used to be a referee. I've been useless.
Thank you for all your comments and retweets and everything that's gone on through the show. We will be back. Scheduled shows on. We've got we might have the debate show tomorrow. No, we do have the debate show tomorrow.
We do have the debate show tomorrow.
I think the debate tomorrow. It might be about Southgate. It might not, because we've already done a podcast about that. It might be wrong. Don't hold me on that. And then on Thursday we've got the 5 midfield, and then obviously next week we'll be back with a review show. But there's
Champions
plenty
League returns in the middle of the week.
Champions League returns in a week. So Man United have got PSG on Tuesday. So you won't see me for about 3 weeks, unless Cavani scores a hat trick. So follow us on all the platforms. Hold on, let me see if I can do this right now. Let me see if there's still these knocking around. No, there isn't. Apparently not. So just follow us on all the internet platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The lot of them is at 2UpTop Football. So follow us on there so you can find out when we're next doing shows, whatever we're doing. On the YouTube channel, I'm currently losing my head and having aneurysms playing FIFA, which is not fun. I haven't actually started playing Weekend League this weekend because they moved it around, so I'm not doing it. So next weekend, we'll definitely do some Weekend League, which will definitely get extra rage out of me. So just follow the channels, follow everything we do. Otherwise, we'll come to your house with baseball bats. So for me, Stephen Cotton, I'm saying goodbye. Ed,
peace out. Love you all.
See you later, guys. Take care, everyone. See ya.